Hello, 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 everybody. Chris Evelyn here. I am so excited to get online and talk to you guys about the latest tea that I just got. I just want to, it's a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about, so I'm just going to get right into it. I just got off work, so, and I had this little information beforehand, but I was like, oh my God, I just can't wait until I get off so we can start talking about it. So, one of the big topics that I want to talk to you guys about is exclusively from B Sky, so shout out to you, girl, for getting this exclusive tea. It's about Miss Wendy Williams. Now we all know that whenever we watch Wendy, she loves to talk about everybody's business except her own, and no shade to it. But understand this is your profession, this is your job, this is that and the third. Like, gossip is your thing. I talk celebrity news and gossip too. Only difference is if something comes up, I talk openly to the people, the viewers, whatever. I mean, of course, I'm not being talked about in blogs and stuff. I'm not at Wendy Williams status. But whenever it comes down to things that's going on, I always feel like if we're going to talk about other people, we should talk about ourselves as well. And I notice a lot of times she doesn't really go in on what's going on with her. So two things. One being her health. Now, I know like there's been situations where I know you guys have been noticing that, okay, she's been sitting down a lot. She talked about that. Funny thing is, I didn't even notice because the only portion of her show that I watch is Hot Topics. I don't watch Ask Wendy. I don't watch any of the other stuff because I just think that Hot Topics is the only interesting part of the show. But I've been noticing lately that Hot Topics is becoming hard to watch. So it's becoming a little more difficult to even sit through the 20 plus minutes of Hot Topics that I catch on YouTube. I don't even watch it on TV. I watch it on YouTube, which usually airs around 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. They always put that one up at the last. That's the last post that they put up. I think because they know that Hot Topics is the most important part of the show that everybody watches. So they save the best for last, I guess. So this week, we all were shocked when we saw her in a sling and she explained that she broke, what did she say, her femur or something, whatever. I wasn't paying attention because I was just like, whatever. I don't know what it really stemmed from, but apparently she fell. But according to sources that had spoken exclusively to B Scott, they were saying that, and I have it here, she's wobbly all the time and has been oddly cussing out Whoopi Goldberg behind the scenes, even though Whoopi isn't even there. This is according to a source who spoke exclusively to B. Scott about this. Now, I don't know if maybe she's taking medication that is causing hallucinations, but like there's been rumors going around that she might be self-medicating with opioids and that sort of thing, which I wouldn't be surprised. Like, okay, now if you're in severe pain, we all know that Wendy comes from addiction, where she used to, and she spoke openly about this, where she used to snort cocaine. She had an addiction to coke. And she said she got clean on her own. And we all heard the story about her son, Lil Kev, who was into the K2, which is why she has this foundation now that kind of helps, I guess, with people who have gotten caught up in drug addiction, that sort of thing. Because that story had came out as well. She never talked about it on the show. However, we all know about it. It's funny how her tea always comes out, but she never really wants to talk about her tea, but talks about everybody else. And then goes in farther than she needs to. Which I don't mind because, you know, I live for the roasts and gags and I live for the shade. But I feel like if you're going to shade others, you got to be willing to put your shit out there too. Just saying. We're all fair game in this situation. So if I was at her status and stories came out about me, I would gladly address it because I'm like, it needs to be. So when you try to play this whole thing of I have nothing to hide, that we're a happy family, this, that, and the third, kind of hard to believe that. Now, speaking of happy family, word on the street is the alleged mistress that her husband Kevin has might be pregnant. And this may also be playing into a lot of what's been going on with her. I also noticed that if you this week watching Hot Topics, she's been sounding a little bizarre. I know she's been like slurring her. I don't know, like I can't say slurring her words. It's not like the Halloween episode, but I've noticed like the way she talks has been kind of weird. Like almost like her nose is. It sounds a bit nasal. Well, I mean, from Jersey, everybody sounds a little nasally, but it just her voice sounds kind of bizarre. I don't know. Pay attention during Hot Topics and you see what I mean. Like she's sounding different than she normally does. Also seems like she's not very present during the show anymore. And I get it. Like you're worth $60 million. You're like this one big giant empire. You're at a certain age. You have Graves' disease. the Graves' disease is probably what's causing, and she has thyroid disease, so the Graves' disease is probably causing her to be really tired a lot. And then Missy Elliott is another person that has that disease, so which has prevented her from performing like she used to back in the day, which is kind of why she's taken that scale back and hasn't really been releasing music or doing a lot of things performance wise. But she doesn't need to. First of all, Missy Elliott is like a songwriter from. She's been a songwriter for hundreds of different performers, so she's sitting on a throne of money. She doesn't need to perform ever again in life, so she's good. But my thing with Wendy is, you know what? I'm hoping that she gets it together. I know this week she's going to be on a little Christmas vacation. Hopefully, within these 2 weeks that she's going to be off for Christmas and New Year's, or however long it's going to be, I don't know. And she'll get herself together and she'll work on her health and she'll, you know, figure out how to get what she needs to get going. But my thing is, there's also been a rumor that she's saying that she and her husband are planning on getting a divorce once little Kevin goes off to college. But I could have sworn he was already in college. Didn't he start going? Has he been in college since August? So it's 4 months. They're still together. And do I think they're going to get divorced? If they do get one, I would be surprised. But I don't see Wendy Williams trying to even divorce him. A, she's worth $60 million, and I don't even think she's going to try to give him any of her money. And then he's also her manager. I don't see her pulling a Tamar and being like, you know what, enough is enough, and I'm going to divorce you. Even though she's the first one to tell somebody to leave a man at the drop of a hat during Ask Wendy or whatever. But I don't see her ever leaving Kevin. I believe she's probably letting him do whatever because maybe at this point in her life with everything that's going on, she probably doesn't feel like she can satisfy her husband or whatever the case is. Whatever's going on with them, I guess, is between them. But like I said, if you're a public figure and your entire job is to talk about other people's business, you are fair game. So we're going to talk about it. Yeah. So if your son's away in college, getting an education, at this point, he's old enough to know what's going on. If your father can't keep his dick in his pants, like, it's time to move on. It's time to work on you, get your mind right, your health right, and not be stressing yourself out over your husband allegedly getting his mistress pregnant. Just saying, I'll keep you guys posted on this story as it develops. So, there was another story coming out because in the previous post that I had posted, I talked about Queer Eye, which is a show I don't watch it. Don't think this show is, I don't even care about it. But, and then, yeah, so in the whole queer family, Word on the Street is Queer as Folk is coming back. Now, that was a show I actually watched when I was much younger. I remember I literally rushed home to watch that episode. I mean, the pilot episode, which aired in like December of, I believe, 1999. So it's almost 10 years ago since the cancellation. Cancellation happened in, I believe, 2005. So it's almost been, what was it, 99? This is 2018. So it's been a pretty long time since the show was aired. But now, what I'll say is there's a revival in the works, which I've kind of been saying, like, in this day and age, it'd be nice to get a revival. Only problem is it's been picked up by Bravo. Now, Bravo, in case some of you aren't aware, is the home of The Housewives, Vanderpump Rules, a lot of shitty reality shows about old white women who are upset over nothing and make a little bit of money selling, hair pieces and wigs and according now with Phaedra Parks, who used to be in Atlanta, vagina wipes. Because I just heard about that today. Like, Phaedra's selling vagina wipes. Can you believe that? But however you get your money, I guess you got to get it. From dealing with dead bodies to wiping cootie cats on the go. Pussy's got to get clean somehow. If you can't get to a shower, use a wipe. We're using to wipe our ass. I know I do. I can't stand tissue. After tissue after a while dries up your booty hole. So might as well just use. Why do I feel like I'm doing a Tiffany Haddish routine talking about booty holes and things? Anyway, I say all this to say the Queer as Folk is getting a reboot. Now, if the reboot happens, first of all, I don't like the idea of it going to Bravo for the exact reason I said. Number two, Andy Cohen. He works my goddamn fucking nerve, which means they'll probably all be on Watch What Happens Live and he'll drive me insane with his stupid ass questions that he says is from callers online, but I'm sure he makes the shit up or has people behind the scenes writing that crap. Number three, I don't. It's going to be much tamer. Chris was more about the unapologetic, you know, ness of it all. The unapologetic sex, the drugs, talking about a certain aspect of our community, which was about the circuit party aspect. If they're going to bring this show, well, when they bring this show back, we need more diversity. The original cast is not coming back. It's going to be a whole new thing. They said that a group of friends come together after a tragedy happens to one of their friends. So it's going to be a tragic situation. I don't know why tragedy has to play into it, but this is the angle they're going with. If they're going to do this show, it needs to kind of be brought in today, which of course needs to be about how we date in this day and age, which would be in the era of Grindr, Scruff, and all these other social media apps that we're using to connect. Gone are the days that people are actually going out to clubs and calling up on chat lines and all that other stuff to kind of hook up. The times of 1999, the late 90s, early 2000s, of when gay men were commiserating, does not exist in today's day and age. They're going with like the younger crowd because I guess in the original cast it was they were in their late 20s and early 30s. They're trying to go a little younger, which means they're probably going to go early 20s. Let's see how that works out. Another thing is we need diversity. I did not like the way the people that when they did have people of color on the show, the way they were portrayed. I felt like they were portrayed as background noise, kind of like what they did with Friends when they brought black people on. I just felt like it was an affirmative action type thing. Oh yeah, let's just add black people. And meanwhile, you're in New York. No black people, really? No Latinos, no Asians. Like, hello. Even in a diner or a coffee shop, you see a mixture of fucking different races. You never saw that on shows like Friends or Queer as Folk. And the two times through in the 5 seasons that Brian Kinney brought a black dude home, never really had a line. It was just, a scene of him coming out of the room or something. So if you're going to do a show of today's era, you need to diversify. That was one of the problems they had with Looking, which was on HBO. So my thing is, why do we even continue to want to revive shows that have already existed? Why can't we, in this Trump day and age where he's trying to take away everybody's rights, why aren't these shows coming out, like new shows, new ideas? Because we got the L Word coming. We have Queer Eye back. Tales of the City is coming to Netflix. There's so many different shows that are coming, but we don't have new stuff. I'm like, if anything, why don't we bring it back Noah's Ark? That was my show. And I hated the way Logo treated that damn show for the 2 seasons. If anything, I feel like maybe a Netflix or somebody should bring that back. And I feel like if you're going to do Queer as Folk, either Showtime should have brought it back or Netflix or a streaming site. Any streaming site, but not Bravo. Like, I feel like Bravo is going to just ruin that entire show. I don't see it being good being on there. But I will say this, I will check it out when it airs. So, don't know when that'll happen. It'll probably be like 2019 or 2020. But I'll keep you guys posted when we finally get the casting and all that other stuff happening. So, I don't know if you've heard, but Maroon 5 has been having difficulty trying to find some people to perform with them at the Super Bowl halftime. First of all, I don't even know why they were even chosen. I don't think Adam Levine is that interesting in that band. I did like their first album, but I feel like they sold their soul to the devil and have been putting out nothing but overproduced pop music. And then he's on The Voice or whatever. But as far as like performing, they're gonna be just as bad as watching Justin Timberlake's dry ass when he was trying to channel his inner black man across that stage last year, and it was just like I felt like I was just watching one big infomercial provided to you and sponsored by Fox News with that hillbilly hand fishing outfit his ass was wearing as he was trying to stiffly dance his little cracker ass across that damn stage with the 20 dances that he had and playing them tight ass hits that he had with that one trick pony Timbaland. I like Timbaland, but once he started working with Justin Timberlake, I was just like, whatever, him and Pharrell. But anyway, back to more important things. So I heard Cardi B, a lot of other people they were trying to get has kind of declined. But then I heard today that he got Travis Scott to perform. Now, the word on the street is Jay-Z is trying to talk Travis Scott out of performing at the Super Bowl halftime. And there's no word if he actually succeeded. But I feel like, on the strength of Colin Kaepernick, I feel like a lot of people in our industry, especially in hip hop, kind of need to band together and let the NFL know that your racism will not be tolerated. That we're not here to just, jigaboo our asses across the stage for your entertainment. That we are, people of color should have the right to protest and to have their thoughts and their feelings stated, especially in the era of the way police brutality, that sort of thing, the whole kneeling, all that crap that idiot in the White House keeps saying is what kneeling is about, is not what it's about. It's not disrespecting our military, even though Mr. Bone Spurs has never served, but is the first person to quickly talk about what the military needs and what they want, even though you're a draft dodger. I don't know how you get to have a say so, but whatever. Um, yeah, so I don't know if he succeeded, but if he does, I will let you guys know. But I just wanted to put it out there. So if Travis Scott drops out, even with the guest appearances, I'm sorry to say, but I feel like Maroon 5 is going to be drier than the last show. Y'all need to have somebody up there entertaining like Jennifer Lopez. Like, that's what you need. You need razzle dazzle and spectacle. Watching some boring ass, you know, band stand there and just sing their hits, it's not interesting. Nobody wants to watch that. Well, for the most part, most people aren't going to watch it. People want the razzle dazzle, especially if you're watching TV. Okay, so last but certainly not least, I want to give a shout out to Remy Ma, who recently gave birth to a baby girl over the weekend. She and Papoose. But word on the street was that she had to be rushed back to the hospital due to complications, that she had excessive bleeding. She went and got surgery, blood transfusion, all of that. Word on the street is the surgery was a success, and she did have a difficult pregnancy. She miscarried last year. We saw that on Love and Hip Hop last season. The current season of Love and Hip Hop is on as we speak. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm hearing like this season's really good, and I'm liking the fact that Mona's actually gotten into really showing the love and the hip hop and focusing less on the shenanigans, the fake storylines, the stripper wannabe rappers, and a bunch of thought boxes trying to make a come up off the backs of whoever. Like, I just thought a lot of those storylines that were happening were a bit cyclical and really ridiculous. And I like the fact that they're focusing on real stories and real issues and real rappers and real performers, and from Joe Budden and all the things he's gone through to what's his name? Joel Santana and his whole situation, where I just heard he's got 2 years and 2 months in prison for the whole gun thing at the airport, where he, had a gun in his bag, and then when it went off and they saw, not the gun, but when it went through the bag check and there was a gun in there and he didn't realize it was in there, according to him, that's what he said. He bolted and ran, he bolted out of the airport and left all his bags and all other stuff and had to go to court. But the latest on that is he got 2 years and 2 months in jail. So I'm sure in good behavior he'll probably get out earlier, and hopefully he learns his lesson, and he'll get better, with what's going on in his personal life with the drugs and all other stuff. But anyway, Remy's 38 and Papoose is 40. So, when you have a late in life pregnancy, I mean, she has an older son who I believe is like 17, 18 years old. And he has two other children from a previous relationship. So when you have a baby later in life, there's always going to be complications. But I'm glad she's doing well. I'm glad the baby's healthy. And I'm glad all is well in the Mackey household. So shout out to you, Remy, and hope to see you back soon. I don't know if your show has been renewed, your reality show, but looking forward to seeing when you come back for the new season of Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden and everybody else. When that show comes back on Revolt in February, or if you haven't seen it, definitely check out that show on YouTube, because it's a really good show. It's like The View, but with four people of color with different opinions on what's going on in hip hop and stuff. So if you're really into that, like some real juicy kitchen table talk about hip hop and everything that's going on in the urban community in regards to music and politics and that sort of thing, definitely give it a shout out. I always like to give out shout out to shows that I actually sit and watch and enjoy. So speaking of which, if you actually sat and enjoyed this entire episode that I just posted, please like, subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the episode. If you're liking all the juiciness, I'll continue to try to post more juicy stories as they develop. It's a little dry because it's the holidays, but anytime a little something juicy comes out, I'm gonna jump on the line and give y'all a little bit of the tea and my opinions on some things. So in that case, I love you all for watching. See you. Love you, darling.